Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Pitch Pod. I'm your host, Jeff Stebbins. Join with me, as always, my trusty co-host, Joe Janner. Joe, how are you this evening?
Jeff, I'm doing well. As always, glad to be a part of the Pitch Pod. Looking forward to a brief review of our last week's match of the week and a preview of what's to come. We're looking at La Liga, moving on to a matchup there that we'll be excited to talk about.
Absolutely. Yeah, Joe's referring to LigaMX. We're going to be looking at Cruz Azul versus Atlas here. Should be a fun one to talk about. But before we get into that, we want to go ahead and make sure that we review our previous match. I was so close to a ring dinger, Joe. I really thought I was going to get it. And then who of all people scores in the last possible opportunity? I think it was 5 minutes overtime, over the 90-minute regulation period. Holland scores and screws me over. Of course, right? But I almost had another ring dinger. That would have been nice. But yeah, Man City defeated Arsenal. I believe the final score was 4-1. Is that correct, Joe?
Yeah, looking at a 4-1 defeat. A lot of people say looking at this, it's as close as you can get to a title match in the sense that the winner, with where they were positioned and the points to earn, would be in the top position. Sure enough, with some results that follow there, looks like Manchester City is going to win this one.
Yeah, yeah. I, it was a blowout of a game, and Pep showed up. Pep was ready, and I don't really know. They have some challenging games ahead of them that I'm sure we'll be covering Champions League wise, but that is a huge momentum change, and Man City's going to run with it throughout the rest of the EPL. So it's exciting if you're a Man City fan. It's gotta be good times for you. So
And rather disheartening for any Arsenal supporters out there.
yeah, pretty typical Arsenal finish. Is that what you would say, Joe?
I think we don't want to go that far, but I mean, it was there for them. I think that's the most disheartening part. It was there for them. The poor run, the draws after draw, and then to get into this match where I think we even referenced and said it must win, really. And then where the other fixtures from the previous match week with Manchester City winning, it really meant that it's going to be really difficult. Not over by all means, but much more difficult position there with Arsenal having to win out and Manchester City pretty much going forward winning this, given they don't drop a couple of points here along, a couple of few points or five along the way, and that goal differential, if they were to finish level on points, is going to push Manchester City ahead. So again, we're not done with English Premier League, as you alluded to. I mean, there's going to be some exciting matches for Manchester City in the Champions League, and really almost quietly and silently, maybe not enough people could win the treble here with a upcoming FA Cup match final. So I mean, we could be looking at a Manchester City treble this campaign. So we'll have something to be looking forward to on the Pitch Pod, and we'll see how that goes.
Absolutely. Again, a bit disheartening if you're an Arsenal supporter. That's for sure. But as Joe said, the EPL is still going on, and so we'll be sure to give you some coverage and bring content related to that, for sure. But before we move ahead, Joe, who was your man of that match?
I think anytime in that type of game and you rack up two, you score a brace. Kevin De Bruyne really has to be the man of the match in that sense that he was there and did what he needed to do, scoring two goals. Pretty clear pick for man of the match.
Yeah. I think you could make a case for Holland being man of the match because he had one goal, sure, but he actually was heavily involved in most of the offensive attack that Man City was having. He was making passes. I think he had at least one assist, maybe an indirect assist at one point for another goal. So I think you can make a pretty good case that Holland was also man of the match. But because I've been a big fan of his throughout the season, I'm also going to go with Kevin De Bruyne. So he's my man of the match pick as well.
It looks like we were relying on that, and I mean, but you did make a good point. I mean, Holland's influence through the 90 minutes plus 5 into stoppage time to score the 4th. I mean, he definitely still continued to show his dominating performances in this campaign, and we'll be looking forward to see if he breaks the record, in over the course of the remaining matches too. So I think that's something we at the Pitch Pod. And Jeff, I haven't given up, or you haven't let me forget, right? The push-up challenge. I
The
mean,
push-up
that's still there. I
challenge,
mean,
it's still there, and Joe, I don't know. The more he's racking up, I'm a little concerned for you and your health. You may have
no,
to.
it's not. Yeah, it can't be. No big concern. Clean bill of health, right there. We're all
Oh, okay.
good.
That was a lab result from your recent doctor's visit, right?
It says excellent health. It says take on the push-up challenge. It says go forward and live your life, basically, as well.
Whoa,
That's what.
that's a good checkup. I wish
Yeah,
I had
yeah.
that
That's.
result. That's not what I got.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry to hear that.
It's okay. It's nothing terminal, but um, but yeah. So that's our man of the match. It was a fun game, and again, congrats if you are a Man City fan or supporter. They're looking good. They have the momentum. But we're actually going to switch over and cover a different league now, one that we have been meaning to cover, and we keep circling back to it. But there's great playing going on down there, and classic organizations, really well run. And so eventually we knew that we would make our way to Liga MX, right? Joe and I are both fans of the league and big supporters. So it was just a matter of time before we finally made our way to cover Liga MX. And the game that we chose specifically because we think it's going to be a real fun one, and both teams are pretty fairly evenly matched. It's going to be Cruz Azul versus Atlas. Joe, what are your initial thoughts going into this match?
Well, yeah, I do have to be just even on the results, previous results of the table alone, with the end of Clausura, them finishing 8th and 9th respectively. And this is now knockout football. You got to figure both these teams are going to go for it. Winners goes on. So I mean, again, I think as a pick for what could be a very exciting, well contested, very competitive match, I think this is it.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It's going to be a fun one, and both teams are super talented. Both teams have the ability to score at will. So I do think this is going to be a fun, exciting game to watch. And Cruz Azul obviously has an advantage playing this one at home and having all their supporters show out. But let's not forget about Atlas, right? They have a ton of support, and their Colombian forward, Julian, he's one of the leading goal scorers of the league this year. So, it's definitely a game that is winnable for Atlas, but um, going into this, Cruz Azul has that obvious advantage. Is there anything else that we should be looking for throughout this game, Joe?
Well, I think if for the home side, Cruz Azul having a slight advantage at playing at home, and going back to earlier similar fixture in the regular season, they came out victorious. I think for them, it's being able to control the game through tempo, the rhythm that they can have and utilize in possession to keep Atlas from being able to score. Because what I've seen over the course of Clausura and even in the earlier parts of the season, that when Atlas scores, it seems like they open up and they score often. And that's what I think for Cruz Azul, what they got to be aware of is that given that they can control the ball and maintain possession, have their chances, score their goals, that will be an advantage to their approach to this game and not keeping Atlas from being able to score.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with that. So, Joe, whenever you're ready, I'm ready to make my prediction. I'm excited for this one, as I know you are. Would you like to go first?
Sure, yeah, I think maybe all but said it in the brief analysis or the brief prediction of where I see this going, the type of game, the type of match that we're going to be looking at. I mean, I got to really look again. Cruz Azul at home, knockout football against a team they've already beaten in the season, and I do believe that they will come out victorious in this one as well. Maybe by just narrow margin, maybe not again as many goals as you would think. I have them winning though 1-0.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense to me. Uh, I also have Cruz Azul winning, but I don't think that they're gonna completely shut Atlas out. So I'm gonna go Cruz Azul winning this 2-1.
So I mean, we're both picking a similar winner. I have to go back. I think here's an encouraging opportunity for our viewers to go back and see how our results and predictions have come out, and to see how often when Jeff and Joe pick similar winners does it happen. It'd be interesting to look back and see that. And in this case, if Cruz Azul, for the case of Cruz Azul, it'll be good for them if they come out of this winners to advance into the next stage.
Absolutely, absolutely. I yeah, the only thing I can think of right now that could kind of add value to our podcast right now is I used to have a Cruz Azul jersey, and so I could have had that hanging up behind me right now as we speak. But trying to be, bipartisan here and objective. But that was one of my first soccer jerseys I purchased.
Well, maybe if they win, maybe you'll have one on your way. Maybe someone will
There you go.
send one your way, right?
Yeah, is it coming from you? It kind of sounded like it was coming from your end there.
It could be. It could be something that we could do again. And then again, what if I hit the ring dinger though? If I hit the ring dinger, it's a 1-0. I think maybe there's a Cruz Azul
Yeah,
jersey my
someone's
way.
getting a Cruz Azul. That's all we know at this
Okay, there you go. Fair enough.
Well, everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. We hope you get a chance to sit down, relax, enjoy this upcoming match. That's definitely what Joe and myself will be doing. Please feel free to jump in the comments section. We'd love to hear from you guys and hear and see your thoughts, and we'll be sure to get back to you and have that engagement. So please, again, feel free to leave comments and let us know if you have questions, even if you want to criticize us. And especially Joe, feel free to criticize Joe as much as you need to. That is fine with us here at the Pitch Pod. But yeah, the best way to support us is to please hit that like and subscribe. We would really appreciate it. And as always, keep pitching out there, everyone.
In a game, the round ball, round posts, anything can happen.